is this watch really made for mountain biking? And the mountain biking that I'm talking about is the rough and tough stuff. We're talking about hitting jumps, taking falls, running into trees, the whole 9 yards. We're talking about real mountain biking, not taking a trail somewhere or a paved trail. This is going to be all about mountain biking. Does it stand up to the test? Hey everyone, this is Will with the BomberStrap channel. In this review, we are going to get into the Garmin Fenix 8. It's brand new. This is the 47 millimeter Fenix A-mold display. I want to do an unpackaging, take this out and address the question, is this watch really made for mountain biking? And the mountain biking that I'm talking about is the rough and tough stuff. We're talking about hitting jumps, taking falls, running into trees, the whole 9 yards. We're talking about real mountain biking, not taking a trail somewhere or a paved trail. This is going to be all about mountain biking. Does it stand up to the test? So what is the criteria for something like this? It's a great question. A lot of it will depend on your opinion about the type of mountain biking that you do and whether or not it applies to what I'm talking about. So evaluate what I say carefully, but what I think you'll find is that this watch is indeed made for mountain biking, but I could be wrong. And I'll compare it up against the Tactix Pro. This is a totally different watch that's a little bit more rugged. We'll explain the differences. I need to get into the technical aspects because that's what really differentiates the Fenix 8 from the Tactix Pro. And so I want to help you decide if you're trying to figure out if this is made for mountain biking and you want to go with it. Will this really solidify your opinion about if this watch is made for mountain biking, or will you go with the Tactix Pro, which is another great watch. I've used it for mountain biking and it hasn't failed me. It's gotten me off the trail when I needed to get off the trail and get my way home, which is a huge credit to the GPS and the nav system. But I want to talk about this watch in particular and see whether or not it qualifies for the type of mountain biking that you do. Okay, here it is. This is the box it came in. This is the Fenix 8 47 millimeter A-mold sapphire. Now, what I want to talk about is this watch made for mountain biking. Is it tough enough? So out of the box, a couple things we need to talk about. First off is going to be the weight. It does come in a lot less weight than the Tactix Pro. Okay, so the weight in the stainless steel version is going to be 80 grams. Titanium, which is what this is 73 grams. As a 1.4 inch display, 154 by 154 pixels. It has all the cool shit with GPS, so that's no problem. But here's some points of differentiation relative to battery life. Now, in GPS mode, it has up to 81 hours, okay? That's pretty impressive, but it is 81 hours. And it's 17 days in expedition mode. So kind of interesting. Now, if you're using the satellite system plus music, it's up to 10 hours. And if you're doing the battery saver watch mode, it's up to 23 days. Now that's pretty awesome. So the watch can stay alive for a long time, and it's tough as nails with the titanium bezel, which is cool. All right, so the charging method, if you're curious, is gonna be this micro USB to regular port, which is standard on all these watches. It does have some standout features relative to the Tactix. First off, some big points of differentiation is this has a Bluetooth, okay, calling support. So you could do voice command. It also has redshift mode to make it easier on your eyes. So if you're wondering like, okay, is the AMOLED display bad for your eyes? You will see in a second. This thing is super vivid. The answer to that, no, it's not bad for your eyes. Okay, but what are we talking about here when we're talking about the durability of this device? First off, titanium bezel. Okay, so they're both solid. But I've also found out, and it's been said that some users have reported that the Garmin Fenix 8 is crashing when going into some of these cold plunges. Wow. Okay. So it's saying that it's meant to tolerate temperatures that go from 32 Fahrenheit to 104, but some users have reported that their watch crashes when the water is colder than 8 degrees Celsius. Not good. Okay, the Tactix Pro has never failed on me in any of my cold plunges. Weight differences with this Tactix Pro, okay? Let's get into it because we should talk about this first. This is my go-to mountain bike watch. All right, tough as nails, really big, very durable, slightly heavier, comes in at 89 grams, okay? 1.4-inch display, less pixels, 280 pixels by 280 pixels. Now, let's get into it with the battery life. This is where things start to make a difference, all right? So in smartwatch mode, 28 days, okay? In GPS mode only, up to 89 freaking hours. 89 hours versus 81 hours. Now, all of a sudden, this is looking pretty darn good. And let's talk about the differences in display because this is something that we have to nail down. First off, this is a MIPS display. So this MIPS stands for memory in pixel, okay? And what's special about this technology is that it will provide a significantly better battery life when compared to other screen types because it only needs to update the pixels that change on the screen when required, so it requires minimal power. So anytime that we need to change the screen, that's when it's working. But as it stays in like its standard mode, it's not using up energy. So this memory in pixel is what makes it a better battery life economy. Now that's different from what you're gonna see with the AMOLED display. Now AMOLED, if you're not like understanding this clearly, stands for active matrix organic light emitting diode. So it's a fancy diode or LED light, right? But what makes it so special is that it is a display technology that uses organic compounds to emit light when an electric current is applied. Now, this AMOLED displays is going to use up a little bit more energy. It's used in a lot of smartphones, televisions, and other devices. And as you will see, it is vivid. Now, the MIPS is battery saving. It uses a backlighting to kind of emit the light. I do like it. And it works outside as well as inside, but the light can be kind of straining. So the question is like, is it gonna stand up to what the Fenix 8 has to offer? So as a mountain bike watch, this totally qualifies. Now the question is, does the durability of this qualify? We already said that the battery life does. Now, do the other features qualify? Well, let me point something out that's special about this watch. So the Garmin Tactix Pro, what I can do is I can get into the settings. Now, this is something that I noticed that didn't exist on the Fenix 8, is I can get into the settings here and trip out in the satellite realm. So what I could do is balance out these satellite options to reduce the battery life expenditure. And this gives me some cool options because if I want super accurate, detailed options, I could do that. Or if I just want GPS only, I could do that too. And if I don't want it eating at my battery life and I don't want this like going off when I'm like sleeping and using the GPS, then I can turn it off. And so I could just get into my settings here and totally eliminate the use of the satellites. I like that as an option. It also has some other cool options as well. Like if you want to go dark, you could do that as well with this watch. So you can go into stealth mode and get totally lights out. You're not being detected by any electrical connections. That's awesome too. So with that being said, this is like getting into like way more details in terms of augmenting, how your watch is being used. It's like programming in DOS a little bit, not very sexy, but you can trick out like the features, I feel like a little bit more, get into the software. And I do like that about the Tactix Pro. It also allows you to ghost out and like totally disappear. I do like the light option. So this light is something that I love and I can flip through different intensities along with the green light, which is what I usually keep. Now that's the Tactix Pro. Again, it qualifies as a mountain biking watch. It's awesome. So the question is, does this qualify? I'll let you decide. Take a look at this. I think you're going to be highly impressed. So out of the box, it's a little bit different from how the Garmin Tactix Pro came, which was a more robust box. This slides through and has a regular box underneath. Then you get to the watch itself, boom, here it is. And as you could see here, the watch is incredibly vivid. It is very cool. Now, it's way different than how the MIPS technology displays. Can you guys see the difference? Like, that's amazing. So Garmin did an outstanding job with this watch. And because it's so vivid, it's almost 3D-like. And it also shows you some cool options here in terms of how to read the data. That I think is neat. The graphics are a lot smaller, and that's because it can, okay? Because there's more pixels. This, I find like it's a little bit easier to read than this. The other thing that bummed me out of the box is that the Fenix didn't have the option to toggle through different watch faces. So that's something I can easily do in the Tactix Pro. I can get through all these different ones and I can customize my options out of the box. This watch here, the Fenix 8, when I went to do that, hold this down, go to watch faces, it didn't give me those options. It looks like I'll have to upload them. So anyway, I love the interactivity of this watch face. It's just super freaking intense. It's super cool. I could look at this all day and it's gonna wanna make me train harder and, you know, have great long mountain bike sessions and then pick up my data reads as I see them here. So 100%, I think this watch qualifies. A couple other things to point out here. I did say that there's a weight difference, and I noted that the Tactix Pro here was at 89 grams, whereas the Fenix 8 comes in at only 80 grams for the stainless steel and 73 for the titanium. So very lightweight. However, when you have this watch on, you can't feel the difference. And what I mean by that is what you actually feel when you're wearing these watches is this embossed area here. So this is the Tactix Pro 7, and it has a relatively smaller indentation that kind of pops out. And then the Fenix 8 has a much wider one. Now you notice them both the same. And so what I found interesting is that the weight wasn't a point of differentiation. In fact, they felt the same. So you don't notice the weight difference, but you feel this indentation thing, and that's the main thing. Now, I didn't feel that one was more comfortable than the other. They both felt comfortable, but here's where they didn't feel the same, is in the watch band, okay? The Tactix Pro, freaking huge fat band, and that feels really good. Like it feels like it's gonna be safe on my wrist, and it supports it well. This one on the other hand felt really flimsy, but I don't think it's that weak. It looks like it's well made, and you could see here that along the edges here, they're tapered with more rubber, so it's a little bit more durable. The other thing that I noticed in terms of feel is that the vibration, the sensor, as you go through different modes and like toggle, it's a much more intense vibration, like it's quicker. This one is a little bit like slower, a little bit more dull. This one feels like a little bit faster. So you just kind of notice this quick oscillation with the little vibration here. It just feels like it's more intense, a little bit faster. And as you're toggling through like all these health settings and different options here, it kind of does it like in a way which is like more vivid, and it's supposed to be with the AMOLED technology a little bit faster. So anyway, I do like this. It looks cool. In terms of functionality, I did take this mountain biking. I found out that it did very well. The only thing that I didn't like is how it displayed the maps. And so what was going on was that when I started a ride, and it's wanting to do incident report detection is not going on. Just, I don't know why, but look at all kind of like, I don't want to do all this, like it's kind of a lot of options here. I just want to go mountain biking, right? And it's asking me to do like all these different things. I want to start. Okay, so that's a little annoying. And as I toggle through, okay, so I got to unlock that. Okay, that's a little annoying. If that's an option I could turn off, I'd love to do it. But you could see here how like the health data points are like really vivid and cool. But what I wanted to get to was right here. So the map is like way better intensity. Super cool. But when you go to like move it around and do stuff, it brings up this little menu option. That menu option here, dude, I found that so freaking annoying because I just want to move this map around and do it like, you know, like I am right now. It is a little bit faster, so it'll transition, zoom in and out a little bit faster, and that's because the AMOLED technology allows you to do that. But again, you know, this is cool. It might give you a little bit more information, I guess, you know, than what you're used to, because it's just a little bit more vivid and intense. The Tactix Pro is not the same. It's not as intense as this lighting, but I didn't like the menu options. Like when that first came up, I was so annoyed, and I just like to get to the map and like move it around. So it gives you some different options here to move around through the menu, which is cool. But again, I really am in love with the Tactix Pro. I think that this is the better option for mountain biking, although I think this qualifies. So here's how I'd break down this review. The Tactix Pro, I think, is going to go down in history as having excellent legacy technology. And I think the AMOLED display is going to be the future of all watches. I think that this high intensity allows you to interact more with your watch. I think that it just does a better job of, making you interact with the watch better because of how vivid things are. I do not like some of these menu options, though, that I'm having to kind of toggle through. Not stoked on it, man. It's just too technical. So when I'm out mountain biking, I want things to be uber simple. Like I don't want to have to like toggle and look at watch menu options. But again, it makes up for it in its intense display. And I think part of that bias actually comes from the fact that I'm not as used to this watch as I am with the Tactix Pro. So again, kind of a crude comparison because you can hardly see this watch being displayed. But if I was to go into like, let's say mountain biking mode, I can toggle through. And let's see, I think it's here up at the top. So when I get to this mountain biking mode, I have all my menu options already set up. Again, this could be my bias, you know. And then when I get to the map, you could see the map difference, like holy heck, all right? So this is, it's crazy. It's the same location, okay? But look how different they are. Again, I have to screw with that unlocking the screen mechanism, right? But when I get to the map display, totally different like point of view. Like how crazy is that? Like that is so wild. Like look at the difference. Like, can you see that? That is impressive. So I do like how easy this is to navigate. I can move around the screen rather easily. This one I have to unlock. Like if I'm on the trail and I just want to move this sucker around, it seems like I have to click on that mountain bike option and then move this around. The maps upload relatively the same, like so there's no loss there. But here's something you could check out that's different. Look at the BLM land that's marked on the Tactix Pro. That isn't being marked here because that's not an option in the Fenix 8. So just a heads up there, if you're into off-roading, you're going to find this watch to be a disadvantage. But an all-around mountain bike watch, I think this is it. Now I want to go through and do my final summary on the Fenix 8. All right, absolutely crazy. Love this watch. The Fenix 8 is something that I would totally get. Again, I'm married to the Tactix Pro. It's just is the watch that I'm not going to give up in exchange for the Fenix 8. However, if you're in the market for a watch for mountain biking, this does qualify. I think it'll do great. Again, great watch for doing triathlons, gravel bike. I think because it's lightweight, it's going to make doing swimming and things like that where you're moving your arm with a watch on a little less noticeable than the Tactix. Like this is a little bit heavier, but again, the Fenix 8, because of the display, because it's going to give you those vivid reads on your metrics, on your health, your pulse oximeter, your heart rate, I think this is the way to go. I think this is the future. If you're going to be an athlete that strives for performance, this is it. If that pairs well with your mountain biking goals, then I think you can definitely get this watch and do well. One quick tip I wanted to say about these watches when riding. At first, when I had the Tactix, I was afraid to ride with it because I was like, dude, I don't want this thing to break. because I was worried about, falling and ruining the screen. That sapphire screen is intense. Like, it's so good. It doesn't show any marks, and I've had this watch for over a year now. Oh, but what I wanted to say was that don't wear your watch, under the wrist. Like, if you're wearing this on top of your wrist, no problem, because when you take falls, you put your hand out, okay, your wrist and your hand take, a lot of the abuse. But, just to save the beautiful screen here, just keep this watch on the top of your wrist, and I think it'll do quite well. So the Garmin Fenix 8 gets my vote of approval, and I think you should research your options, because there's quite a few options on Garmin with the new Fenix 8, but the AMOLED display is where it's at. And as you saw, and as I discussed, the battery life thing is really comparable now, and I think that there is going to be a massive shift in the market for these AMOLED displays. However, I do think that the MIPS screen is going to be legacy technology. I think that a lot of people are still going to go for that because it's just like simple and it's easy on the eyes and it's just less technical. And so if you want less of that technical noise and you just want to watch that records your metrics, then look at them in your phone and review how you did, dude, this is the watch to go with, and it'll save you a ton of money. Because that MIPS technology is not priced as high as the AMOLED display. I hope this helps. I think this was a really fun review for me to do. I hope you enjoyed it, and I tried to break down some of that technical information and the points of differentiation between those two. My name is Will with the BomberStrap. Again, the BomberStrap is the #1 mountain bike single tailgate pad. Got to get out there and get it. If you're into mountain biking and you have a truck, get the BomberStrap. It is the best single mountain bike tailgate pad out on the market. And again, take a look at our new videos coming out. We got some cool stuff specifically on off-roading and communications. I'm going to surprise you on that, but stay tuned on our next review. Take care.